Okay. There you go. It's now law.
That bill that Joe Biden signed into law, it's the Inflation Reduction Act. And starting on August 16th, 2022, just over 3 years ago, it started making an enormous difference in the lives of millions of Americans. Thanks to the law, Medicare was allowed to start negotiating with Big Pharma to bring down the costs of prescription drugs. Life-saving insulin for seniors was capped at just $35 a month, and it helped bring down the cost for patients on private insurance too. Not only that, it extended tax credits to bring down premiums for more than 20 million Americans who get their insurance through the Affordable Care Act. But it wasn't just a healthcare bill. The Inflation Reduction Act made sure that corporations paid their fair share by enacting a minimum 15% tax to crack down on offshoring. And it was the largest investment in combating climate change ever, dedicating billions of dollars to increase the supply of clean energy and bring down electricity bills for American families. In short, the Inflation Reduction Act lived up to its name by addressing the number one issue on people's minds, the out-of-control cost of living. Better still, it actually reduced the federal deficit while boosting energy and manufacturing. So then why are Trump and the Republicans trying to get rid of it? I'm Hannah Moldavan, Deputy Communications Director for the Democrats, and your host for today. It's Tuesday, August 19th, and this is the Democrats' Daily Blueprint. Before the ink was even dry on the Inflation Reduction Act, Republicans started falling over themselves trying to repeal it. To Republicans, it didn't matter that hundreds of billions of dollars, nearly 80% of the total set aside for building manufacturing plants, were going to their own districts. Joe Biden signed it, so they just had to get rid of it. On day one of Trump's second term, Republicans got their wish. During his very weird MAGA rally/signing ceremony, Trump signed an executive order called Unleashing American Energy that sought to cancel federal funding for solar energy, wind farms, and electric vehicle battery manufacturing. It's ironic because if he really wanted to unleash American energy, he'd help our country lead the way on the technology of tomorrow. Immediately, Democratic attorneys general sued and got a court order that stopped the funding freeze. But the damage was already done. Grant recipients were unable to access their funding for, quote, weeks after the memorandum had been issued. And through their budget bill, Republicans also managed to attack key provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act. Their budget bill legislation undoes the essential tax credits needed to help bring additional clean energy online. So what does this mean for American families, for us? Higher energy costs. But don't just take my word for it. Here are some of the benefits of the Inflation Reduction Act that are on the chopping block because of Republicans' push to repeal it. From Arizona,
local economist Jim Rounds said Arizona is seeing growth in this high-wage sector of the economy. He estimates that if Arizona simply catches up to U.S. averages in green jobs, it will generate $7 billion in total economic output, 40,000 more jobs, which will lead to about $243 million more in annual tax revenues.
To places like Ohio.
And we start today with breaking news as more growth is coming to northern Wood County. First Solar announced today plans to invest another $185 million. The plan is to expand the capacity of the plants in Perrysburg and Lake Township. They will also expand the third facility currently under construction and set to open next year. The company also announced plans to build a new production facility in the southeastern United States.
Both the Inflation Reduction Act and Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill were passed through the same process known as budget reconciliation. But that's where the comparisons end. Trump's bill kicks more than 17 million Americans off their health care and reduces food assistance for up to 22 million families. It shovels more than $1 trillion to the top 1% who definitely don't need another tax giveaway. Meanwhile, the Inflation Reduction Act was an investment in the middle class. It made life more affordable for families, lowering the cost of their medications and their monthly energy bills, all while making our tax code fair and cracking down on the ultra-wealthy tax cheats. Maybe that's why Republicans have been attacking it since day one. But there's a lesson that they should have learned the last time they tried to repeal a signature Democratic bill. Voters don't like when you try to rip away measures that improve their lives. Obamacare and the Inflation Reduction Act help millions of Americans get healthcare and afford it. And as we gear up to talk to voters about the steps that each party has taken to address the affordability crisis in America, Democrats will continue to drive home this message. But we need your help. If you've benefited over the past 3 years from cheaper insulin or any of the other provisions that we talked about in the Inflation Reduction Act, then help us spread the word. And if you don't like what was included in the Republican mega bill, which you can find on trumptax.com, then we hope you'll join us in talking about it. Together, we can set the record straight and protect the Inflation Reduction Act for years to come. Thanks for joining us today for this episode of the Daily Blueprint. We'll be here right with you every weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern on the DNC's YouTube page. Until tomorrow.